Britain is preparing to become the first country to roll out the Pfizer or BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine this week, initially making the shot available at hospitals before distributing stocks to doctors' clinics. The government said on Sunday the first doses are set to be administered on Tuesday, with the National Health Service giving top priority to vaccinating the over 80s, frontline healthcare workers, and care home staff and residents. Britain gave emergency use approval for the vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech last week, jumping ahead in the global race to begin the most crucial mass inoculation program in history. In total, Britain has ordered 40 million doses, enough to vaccinate 20 million people in the country of 67 million, as each person requires 2 doses. About 800,000 doses are expected to be available within the first week. Joint Chief Pharmacist at Croydon Health Service, Louise Collins said, the initial doses that have arrived from Belgium are being stored in secure locations across the country, where they will be quality checked. Indonesia received its first shipment of COVID-19 vaccine from China on Sunday, as the government prepares a mass inoculation program. President Joko Widodo, in an online briefing, said the Southeast Asian country received 1.2 million doses from China's Sinovac Biotech Limited, a vaccine Indonesia has been testing since August. He added that the government plans to receive another 1.8 million doses in early January. Late-stage trials of the Sinovac vaccine are also underway in Brazil and Turkey, with interim results on efficiency from Brazil expected by mid-December. Indonesia is also expected this month to receive shipments of raw materials to produce 15 million doses and materials for 30 million doses next month, the president said. The vaccine still needs to be evaluated by the country's Food and Drug Agency, while his administration continues to prepare for distributing the vaccine across the vast archipelago of 270 million people, Jokowi said.
Thousands of people protested in London on Sunday over agricultural reforms in India. A crowd of demonstrators converged on the Indian embassy in the city, and groups marched around the Trafalgar Square area. Tens of thousands of farmers have protested in India against 3 laws the government says are meant to overhaul antiquated procurement procedures and give growers more options to sell their produce. Farmers fear the legislation passed in September will eventually dismantle India's regulated markets and stop the government from buying wheat and rice at guaranteed prices, leaving them at the mercy of private buyers. Britain is home to a large Indian diaspora, and many Britons who trace their family roots to India are strongly engaged with news from the country. There was little social distancing in evidence at the London protests, and few participants were wearing face masks. The Metropolitan Police warned that people taking part in a gathering that did not respect COVID-19 restrictions risk being fined and called on people to leave the area. Romain Grosjean will miss the Formula One season-ending Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, with the Frenchman flying to Switzerland to continue his recovery from injuries sustained in a fiery crash at last week's Bahrain Grand Prix. Forced to sit out Sunday's Sakhir Grand Prix, the Frenchman had been hoping to return for what looked set to be his Formula One swan song in Abu Dhabi on December 13th. But in a video statement he released on Twitter, he said that he would not be able to race again this season. Grosjean walked away from the horrific crash last week despite his car being split in half and bursting into flame. The 34-year-old suffered second-degree burns to the back of his hands, for which he will continue to receive treatment in Switzerland. Haas will instead run Brazilian reserve Pietro Fittipaldi, standing in for Grosjean in Sakhir for a second consecutive weekend. Grosjean has been with Haas since the US-owned team's debut Formula One season in 2016. Both he and teammate Kevin Magnussen are leaving the outfit at the end of this year, with Haas going for an all-rookie lineup in Mick Schumacher, son of 7-time champion Michael, and Nikita Mazepin, the son of a Russian billionaire. Mercedes on Saturday said they would be open to arranging a farewell Formula One test for Grosjean if the Frenchman was unable to return in Abu Dhabi.
The latest data from the World Health Organization showed a cumulative total of confirmed COVID-19 cases worldwide surpassed 65.25 million on Thursday, with the death toll exceeding 1.51 million as of 15:02 Central European Time. The WHO coronavirus disease dashboard showed that the total number of confirmed cases reached 65,257,767, with a death toll of 1,513,179 worldwide. The United States remains the nation hit the worst by the pandemic in the world, with deaths from COVID-19 in the United States surpassed 280,000 on Saturday. The U.S. state of California on Saturday reported over 25,000 new confirmed cases. India's COVID-19 tally reached 9,644,222 on Saturday as 36,011 new cases were registered during the past 24 hours, said the latest data from the Federal Health Ministry. The death toll mounted to 140,182 as 482 COVID patients died since Saturday morning. Brazil has the world's second deadliest outbreak, behind only the United States, and the third largest number of COVID-19 infections below the United States and India. Brazil's COVID-19 death toll on Saturday surpassed 176,000 after registering 664 deaths in the last 24 hours, with the nationwide tally now at 176,628. Meanwhile, a total of 43,209 new cases were reported, bringing the national count to 6,577,177. Russia reported 28,782 new coronavirus cases in the past 24 hours, the highest number of daily infections to date. Meanwhile, 508 new deaths were reported, taking the nationwide count to 42,684. The country has registered 2,431,731 coronavirus infections over the course of the pandemic, making its caseload the fourth highest in the world. Turkey reported 31,896 new COVID-19 cases, including 6,128 symptomatic patients, as the total number of symptomatic COVID-19 patients in the country increased to 533,198. According to the Health Ministry, the death toll from coronavirus in Turkey rose by 196 to 14,705. Italy reported over 21,000 confirmed cases and 662 deaths in the past 24 hours. The country's cumulative total of COVID-19 cases has exceeded 170,000, with nearly 60,000 deaths. Italian Health Minister Roberto Speranza signed to lower the risk level and ease restrictions in several areas from Sunday. Currently, only the Abruzzo region is listed as high-risk area. France registered 12,923 new COVID-19 cases on Saturday, taking its national count to 2,281,475. Meanwhile, 216 more deaths were reported across the country, bringing the overall death toll to 54,981. The confirmed COVID-19 cases in Japan have increased by 2,497 to reach 160,906 as of Saturday night. The death toll in Japan from COVID-19 currently stands at 2,332.
Organisers of the Tokyo Olympic Games have been counting the cost of the decision to postpone the event until next year and say they believe it could cost an additional $2.8 billion. The Games were scheduled to take place this summer, but put back a year in the hope that spectators could safely attend and athletes' health could be guaranteed. The extra costs are expected to come through a combination of the Tokyo Metropolitan Government, the organising committee and the Japanese government. Tokyo 2020 CEO Toshiro Muto.
Tokyo's cost is Tokyo's cost. The IOC is involved in various activities around the world, and they have accountability to these organizations. Therefore, we initially agreed to keep it separate.
The International Olympic Committee has previously said it will contribute $650 million towards covering postponement costs. This figure is separate from the costs announced by the Japanese organisers on Friday. Tokyo 2020 President Yoshiro Mori also added that the IOC had agreed to waive any additional royalties accrued by new sponsorship deals secured by the organising committee.
Next year, you won't need to get off your couch to catch Warner Bros.' biggest 2021 box office titles. Warner Bros. Studio on Thursday announced it would make all of its 2021 films available in theaters and on the HBO Max streaming service on the same day, an unprecedented shift in movie viewing in response to the health crisis that has upended the movie industry and shuttered movie theaters around the world. Big titles, which are expected to include Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, a new version of Dune, and a Matrix sequel will be available on HBO Max for 1 month starting on the same day they debut in cinemas. Studios have been pushing to make their movies available in living rooms sooner than the typical timeline of roughly 90 days after they debut in cinemas, an idea theater owners have been fighting. Warner Brothers executives said the strategy would be in place for 1 year, beginning on Christmas with the dual release of Wonder Woman 1984, simultaneously in U.S. theaters and on HBO Max. The new strategy from Warner Brothers unnerved investors in theater chains. Shares of AMC Entertainment, the world's largest theater operator, fell nearly 16%. Rival movie theater operator Cinemark's shares dropped almost 22%.